Unplugged with the Shark. And today we're going to be all unplugged. It's all about disrupting the industry. That's what we all do here. I'm here with a good friend of mine, Ashley Watts. What is up, Ashley?
Hey, Richard. I'm so excited to be here.
Are you ready to survive and thrive today?
Oh, I am more than ready.
Ooh, big time. I love our topic today. And just talking to you yesterday, the prep talk, we got Jeff Stats out there. It's probably going to tune in. You're going to have to make all them marketing gurus out there happy because they're going to watch and you're kind of representing them today. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The pressure's on, but I'm here for it.
Hey, there's no pressure. And remember, unfiltered, unplugged, anything goes. That's what I love about it. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to cookie cut it. We're going to keep it real, which we are going to talk about cookie cutter later on. Look out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So for the first couple minutes, the 2-minute tour, everybody out there, who's Ashley Watts and what do you do?
Yeah. Thanks. I'm Ashley Watts. Like Richard said, I am the founder of Motive Marketing, which is a social media startup agency. I've been around the block though with staffing and recruiting for 9 years. I did
around the block, Jenny on the block. Now I got a lot knowledge, right?
So I've been around the block for 9 years now in the staffing and recruiting industry, but from social media perspective, professionally, I say that because I was in the MySpace days, right? I don't count that. But I've been doing social media marketing for personal brands and businesses, small to medium size, for over 12 years. Yeah, so I have seen a lot, been there from the birth of Facebook and Instagram and all these other new players, TikTok, and so forth. So really what I am here to do and why Motive Marketing, why now, why are we talking today, is to truly disrupt and reinvent what social media marketing is when it comes to the staffing and recruiting industry.
Mm-hmm.
Sales to recruiting, all the way to marketing. How do we market our business? How do we market ourselves as individuals to make an impact and really just working with brands that want to do good and want to have a purpose greater than just the bottom line?
You got it. And I always say this, be you, be different. I think in our industry right now, you got to be you, be different to get them candidates and clients. And I got to tell you straight up, the staffing industry is lacking in marketing compared to all the other industries out there, and we talked about that prep, Chick-fil-A, Netflix, Apple, Nike. If you study them, peeps, you're going to be rocking this out. But I don't think we are actually in our industry right now. I think sometimes, to be honest with you, I see a lot of it's lacking with the generic post and stuff like that. So let's just jump into that because that was one of the things that we already talked about was these generic Google images that you post out there and you're not getting any reach at all.
Yeah. The stock imagery that used to be something that was the go-to content source of how we created imagery and designs on social media, blog content, emails. But that's not how it is for 2024 and beyond. It's all about the human interactions, the storytelling. You mentioned Chick-fil-A, Baskin Robbins, Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, there's all of these big brands. And just because they are targeting an actual product for a consumer doesn't mean that staffing and recruiting can't do the same or even better. Because we are actually making a true impact in every single person's lives that we touch. So let's lean into the faces, the voices, the stories behind every single piece of content that we create.
Well, Chick-fil-A, and I have this picture I'm at the post sometime. You see the crowd around it at lunchtime or anytime. Could you imagine your staffing office, virtual or person, with that many people just roaming around, loving the experience?
Right. And that's what it's about. It's about the experience. So capture that and create a truly remarkable story of what it's like, even deeper, right? Forget about the day in the life, forget about behind the scenes. It's like, give them the now, give them the true experience of working with you.
You hit it. And it's not about you, it's about them. I always say that, and we got to keep saying this over and over again. Even with the stock picks and that stuff like that over and over again, I see people get hired and they put a picture of them holding up their first check. Where is the recruiter or the sales rep in that picture? I never buy myself, peeps. Ashley, tell us a little bit about that. What do you think? I think reading all this stuff in marketing, the more people you have in the picture, the more it's engaging. So everybody else wants to be joining you.
Yeah. I mean, it's that FOMO effect.
FOMO. Yeah.
It is. It's the fear of missing out. And if you see others that are a part of your brand, whether it's your personal, executives that I work with, right? And from the C-suite, from leadership team members, all the way down to the recruiters, their salespeople, people that are at the ground level. If there are other candidates that are interacting with your business, right? If you're at an event, you're making it an actual party. We talked about that too. That's what people want. That's what the generation wants now more than ever. These younger generations coming into the workforce, and those even expanding, is being able to not miss out, right? It's that FOMO, right? And you're creating that, and that's what we have to do, right? We have to create that FOMO effect of like, hey, you don't want to miss out on this because this is a wave that you need to be on. Come join us.
You're right. And you know what the first thing, and people in the staffing industry, it's like, Shark, you're out of control. Entertainment's first. You must entertain somebody to engage and employ them. I'm sorry about it, but all the stats is great and all that. But if you're boring, nobody's going to tune in. Yeah, well, you could be the best recruiter ever, but if you're boring and don't capture their interest, they're just going to bounce on you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's less than 10% a month. Do social media users go on social media, any platform, to actually exchange in some sort of business decision, transaction, or purchase a product? The other 90+% is to get educated or entertained. And then a sprinkle in there of inspiration, right? But you can infuse that in all of your messaging, but you hit it on the head. It's to get entertained. It's to release some of the stress from the day, and they want to connect with brands through their mobile device, through, any searches that they have. And if you're giving them that craveable, positive experience that makes them laugh and feel an emotion, you won them over.
You hit it right on the head. Okay, so we got a deep dive into websites. This might get us in trouble.
Yeah.
I haven't had a website in 4 years. I pulled it off for the reason, 3.5 years, and I'm going to put it back up eventually, but I don't need a website because I have all social platforms. A website, don't get me wrong, is good. But tell people out there, what is your take on this out there? I mean, everybody needs a website, but where's the traffic flowing these days?
Yeah. It's so funny. I was just talking about this too, not only with you yesterday, but a few other clients and individuals I was connecting with about the website used to be the first checkbox, right? That you have to do. And you had to make sure that it is fully updated, fully optimized, right? And it's fully equipped to be able to take in all the leads, inbound and outbound, and really present yourself and your brand as your portfolio, as the true experience, right? And your services. But now it's that lower tier checkbox in terms of you need it, right? Just like a business card, just like your email.
Yeah.
You need your, Google My Business, right? You need to have that so you have your ratings available, but it is lower on the totem pole in terms of prioritization of what needs to be regularly updated and active and enhanced, because that's where social media comes in. Social media, and for those on here today, you're on, most of you are probably on LinkedIn watching this. That
only LinkedIn, right, Ashley? Which we'll talk about later.
Exactly. So we're shifting that mindset of social media needs to be treated as your website.
Bingo.
Treated as your microsite. It is your first handshake with your prospect, with a potential candidate, with someone that you're going to be attending an event for.
I love what you said there. And that is so true. And people ask me all the time, dude, when you're going to get a website, I can put one up for you. All the platforms. So belonging to your brand, what we started with, you know what? People, their brand is them. It should be, your brand should be 24/7, Ashley. Am I right on this? And seriously, I think that in our industry, a lot of big companies don't let the recruiter and the staffing, like the sales rep, become the brand, because they are the brand when they're on the streets.
Right. You're buying into the person behind the brand. You need to have that human connection. I mean, we're in a digital world right now. We all know that. And it's only to become even more digitalized of how we interact with others. So if you aren't advocating, employee advocacy is something that I work with companies,
Mm-hmm.
for being able to empower your employees, the faces that are on the streets that are shaking the hands of every single candidate and client of yours, to be able to give them the power and the tools to have a well-rounded, healthy personal brand that, of course, is never going to leave them, right? Like, our brands are ourselves, no matter where we go in our careers and our lives. But it is a 24/7 self, right? It's just who you are. You're a walking billboard for whatever
You
it is that
are.
you're passionate about in life. And you have that connection with your company as a recruiter, that you should be infusing the employer brand behind it and speaking positively about it, and putting your face first.
You hit it. And this shark necklace, Ash, it never comes off, really. It doesn't, unless I take a shower, seriously, or bed. Swear it's with me 24/7. And that is so true. I mean, social media in our industry, I think that we're a little bit behind the times. I'm gonna say we are. We are when it comes to social media. It's the same old thing over and over. Engage, engage, engage. But do you know how to engage? That's the key. Putting a story on LinkedIn with a selfie and saying, I'm going out to drop off stuff to my customer, I love them. That's great, but that's not going to be getting you what you need at the end.
Right, exactly. And it's more than just one platform. Right?
Okay, so there it is. Okay, so we're done. I always say if you're only on LinkedIn, you're losing out. The L is for one reason. Even though we're on LinkedIn right now on all platforms, I love every platform at all. Let's break this down. So, I mean, you got some stats on this, so give it to me.
Yeah, I do. And I want to say too, I want to preface with the fact that if you've worked with me even in the past, even a year ago, it's like, hey, Ashley, like, the recommendation was LinkedIn first or whatnot. We also want a habit stack, right? If you're already on LinkedIn, let's start there. That's a quick win. And let's optimize what you're currently doing and then build that momentum, not just cross promote the same message to every platform, but let's start there as a great foundation and then build off into other audiences, because I'm looking to the right here because I have some stats. And I can drop some in the comments after we finish up too, of some really cool stuff that I have. But Facebook and Instagram, Meta, right? So people are saying Facebook's dead or going to be dead, and it's not. They just came out with a couple weeks ago, so it's very fresh, a Reels performance playbook, and I'll drop it in the comments. It's really cool. But it gives you the tips and tricks and all of the ins and outs that marketing teams or yourself can even use, because it's driving over 200 billion
not million,
billion with the B views, eyeballs every day, just from video content, Reels. And that is an untapped territory that we as a staffing and recruiting industry are not exploring. And it's probably because lack of expertise in that, which is fine, right? Like, that's why we have experts like ourselves that are educated on it. But also too, it's just because it's a constantly evolving social media platforms. They're constantly, releasing updates. But being able to tap into this playbook that I'll share is really going to give you the upper edge.
That billion, when you said that, do you know what that means? How much you can bill off of that?
Yeah.
I love Facebook. Facebook is my number one thing, because I gotta tell you this. I tell everybody this all the time. They're like, over and over, Shark. I take a picture with every person I hire in person, and I share it on my Facebook, and they share it on theirs. And they're all my friends. I have like 3,000 people on Facebook. I think 2,200 are everybody I put to work in the last 6 years. Is that like, there they are. I say, so happy birthday, Merry Christmas. I don't have to go to an email. I go straight to their Facebook. So they got their family out there. Like, look, the Shark said that. There's my referral base right there. I say this over and over, Ashley. Guess what? At these conferences, and nobody still applies it at all. Maybe some people, we're talking 10%. They're still hooked on this, going on Indeed, job boards, and all this, spending all this money. And this is where we need to disrupt it. I'm telling people, I know what's successful. You know what it takes. We got to just tell everybody else. This is simple stuff, and it's all free. Most of these platforms are all free.
Yeah, right. And that's where my approach is too, and what I recommend for everyone I talk to is start with organic, that free approach first before you put any dollars into paid ads, because the power of an authentic organic relationship is so much stronger. And you need to have that foundation built first before you should put in any ads into it.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, if we're treating our social media platforms like a website, they want to make sure you're actually true and credible and valid. So you need to make sure your day-to-day management of that outreach, of your content is actually active and nurturing and supporting in the right non-salesy toned down with the holiday promotional content, and it's really
Oh,
focused on solving those pain points and building a connection with your audience.
and something else that I'm going to elaborate on, and I think that you agree on this. Your Facebook profile. You know how some people put that generic picture and they say I'm a recruiter. Please tell people you got to use your own Facebook
Yeah.
personal one, because if you don't, you're looking too salesy and it's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to lead with who you are as a person.
Yeah.
You have to show your face. A candidate doesn't want to work with another branded image that's stock, right? Let's grab the cookie cutter approach and be true to who you are.
I love that so much. And I always say be personal equals placements. That's simple. That's stuff like that. I mean, let them tap in, and people's like, well, I don't want you. If you're recruiting, you're in staffing, and you don't want people to know your personal life, then you're missing out. I mean,
Right.
Unless you're putting appropriate stuff on there, and that's different sites that you shouldn't be on anyway. So we won't even talk about that.
Right. Exactly.
But
Yeah.
on all the platforms, I mean, Facebook
Yeah.
is so for nursing, for industrial, for I think even engineers, everybody has a place, a Facebook, even CEOs. People don't think that, but what's your take on all these other platforms? I mean, CEOs are on more than this LinkedIn.
Yes. I can't even tell you how many times I will have a C-suite member tell me that they were scrolling on TikTok, or their daughter or son showed them something or sent them a video from another platform, and they're scrolling, they're looking at, NFL. We were just talking about that. Huge NFL fans here. And TikTok actually is signing a deal with the Washington Capitals, which is NHL. And they're going to be their official sponsor and partner. NFL is strongly integrated with TikTok and Instagram too. And they're going there for different purposes. So think of it this way, that a C-suite member or your candidate could be using a different hat. Let's just say it's going to be their personal. At the end of the day, they're scrolling Instagram just to have some mindless content be presented to them. But if you're inserting yourself into their feed when they least expect it, you're going to disrupt that.
You are.
You're going to be there, and you're going to, after a number of times, 7 to 10 times of being presented to them, you're going to stay top of mind and be their choice when they're ready to find a new role.
So this ties into the micro influencer. I mean, I got to tell you real quick a story. And, I was up in Canada last year, and I was at Toronto Airport, and I'm drinking a Tim Horton. Guess what I do? I put their cartoon pic, tag Tim Horton. They shared on their X with 7 million views right there. My organic reach right after that, I had 400 followers like that. Actually, I had 2 people that are interested in doing some coaching. Is that just,
Wow.
and I didn't say anything about, all I did was tag Staffing Shark, Tim Horton, love the Canadian coffee.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do. This is part of, I think, that people don't understand about marketing. You don't have to sell your jobs over and over again. We got 1 million jobs. Everybody's got 1 million jobs. How do you want to get business? I mean, this possibly could tie into where I could be staffing for Tim Horton. You never know,
Right. Yeah. It's the power of staying consistent, right? And showing a bit of your personal side. Because if you were just strictly business all the time, that would have never happened.
What's business? Ashley, what's business? I'm never business. You know me. Come on now.
I know.
Business, huh?
I know. I gotta have my audience here. But yeah, so the power of just being active, conversationalist, engaging, sharing content that actually is cool, right? And matters, and people can relate to and resonate with, leveraging best practices of tagging brands that you are already wearing, interacting with, small businesses that you're grabbing a coffee from, just being ingrained in your community and with other brands, because they'll help cross promote for you. And to your point of just making sure you're not just spamming your feed and your audience with the same promotional content. They're not following you to be a job board. They're following you because they want to learn something. They want you to share something valuable that they can apply that moment of time, right? Because they might forget it in a week from now, but that day they really want to look to your business or your personal brand of how can I be better today and improve 1% better today.
I love what you said there. So the micro influencer that is going to be big in 25.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I tell everybody this, trust me, my peeps. I have actually a family member that's big in TikTok out in California. My brother is part of this big collaboration of them, influencers selling. Well, the influencers come into the staffing industry. And if you're not in this in 25, I'm going to tell you, this is the way that the world is now. It's influencing, and it's going to actually come to our industry quicker than you want it. So either embrace it or not. Exactly. What is your take on this micro influencer for coming up?
Yeah. So first I want to, if you are like, okay, Richard, Ashley, what is a micro influencer, right? Like these names and terms get tossed around. How do I classify as one? It's defined as someone that has 10,000 to 100,000 followers. So it's a smaller scale too. But it can be like for you and for me, I have almost 30,000 followers on Instagram for my fitness and personal branding, account. And then for you, I know you have thousands of followers as well. So it's really your collection of how many followers that you have. And you are sharing content on a consistent basis, and you are spreading the word. You're spreading positive vibes and inspirational messages and being collaborative thought leader and putting your stake in the ground of a position that you want to call your own, and just being who you are each and every day and just showing up on social media.
I love how you said that. And every morning I think you should put something out there. It could be an inspiring quote or something like that with your coffee. I do that every morning. And if I don't, people send where's your coffee shot? And that they start thriving on that. And it might not be somebody that you can get a job for or something, but everybody knows somebody. I think that's the big thing that we have to know. Everybody knows somebody. So guess what? That's how you get your reach out on social media. And being an influencer, what is your take on like the QR codes and all this? Because I know a lot of people, I like to have the QR codes to all my platforms, and especially LinkedIn or the other ones on my phone. What is your take for recruiters? Should they have a QR code for almost all their platforms?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's your digital business card.
Yeah.
I will keep saying this in terms of social media is shifting that mindset of it just being something that you are only using for sole entertainment and not putting your voice and message out there, but use it as a tool. It is a truly incredible tool in your toolbox that is not being tapped into right now within our industry. And it has the power from QR codes to be able to increase your reach by getting hopefully qualified candidates and new referrals. And by using, I know you were talking about this, Richard, yesterday. I don't know if people know this, but of where you place your QR codes, but it's just getting creative with it too, because they want to keep hearing from you. And if they're not sure just yet of what you're all about, they're interested. We're in a world, in a country that we're curious.
Bingo. The key word, curious. Yeah. I always say this real quick, and that's why I brought Netflix up. The top 10, we talked about this yesterday, the top 10 movies. Even if you don't like the movie, if it's in the top 10, you usually watch all top 10 because you're curious and you see a million other people watching it. Yeah. You don't be left out. So if you have a conversation at the bar, restaurant, you're like, oh, I didn't see that movie yet. You want to be loved, and that's why you bite on it. It's the same way in all concepts, even with our industry. Nobody wants to be left out for losing a job, or the client doesn't want to be left out working with somebody good.
Exactly. Right. It's the FOMO, right? You don't want to be left out. The conversation, and you don't want to be left out in the moment of experiencing it real time. And, we crave on being the first one at the table to be able to set the tone when you have those conversations with others. Like, hey, did you see this post from Richard? Hey, did you see this video from X, Y, and Z staffing company? Like, look what they're doing in the community, or look at this viral take on this interview style or whatever it might be. So getting ahead of the game too, so that you are in the top 3 of Netflix.
That is so true. And then the micro influencers. So how do we, okay, so let's break this down, Ashley.
Yeah.
So you're a staffing firm, you're an owner, you got 20 recruiters, kind of micromanaging. I'm going to say it like that right now because we have a lot of staffing firms out there that do that. They still want to do it the old way. How do you let your recruiter become this influencer? Because a lot of times they have a marketing department that is disconnected with the sales rep and the recruiter. I see this all the time. The marketing department has one view of how they think they can capture the audience, but really the people on the phone, that's your influencers. That should be the ones that should be marketing you too.
Yeah, absolutely. There has to be clear lines of communication for sure, because have experienced this, and I do experience this with different clients and others that are, I'm friends with that are in the industry in-house. So you have to bridge the gap and make it easy for your marketing team to understand what is happening week over week, whether it's an email communication, a regular meeting, or some form of digital channel, communications channel like Slack or whatever that may be. So making sure that you're educating marketing on what exactly is happening on the day-to-day, have them get ingrained, go on site. I loved doing that when I was in-house, of being able to go on site and actually experience what it's like for a recruiter and salesperson to be able to communicate and have an exchange within the business. And then once you conquer that and get to 85% perfection, it's never going to get to 100%, is then being able to put in the correct policies and best practices, whether that's doing a training, whether that is creating an actual documentation of what those policies are when you're talking about the brand, your company. Of course, you can't dictate exactly what can be said legally on their own personal profiles, but you can give guidelines.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're going to be having that connection with your company, but you can give them and even arm them with some fantastic employee advocacy programs and tools. They make great tools out there that can give your team members, the recruiters and sales team, social posts that are pre-approved that they can put out there.
And don't everybody want a good social post of themselves out there? I mean, of what they did good. And guess what this will do? Retain internal people, will not turn over anymore. Yeah. Because the recruiter that's out there and they're like, oh, you didn't get your KPI and all this, you didn't hit your levels. Now you have them engaged in the company. Yep. That's what it's all about. You're engaged in the company. It's not like, well, oh, that post is out there, I'm just left behind. Now you're engaging your whole staff. Everybody's an influencer in your office. And it's fun. You could even have games and challenges for this and see how many more impressions can you get than me, and then give somebody like a half a day off. This is what we need. I mean, recruiters bounce all the time. People want to keep internal people happy. I think the influencer is the way to go.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. The ability to be able to empower your people to have a voice and some skin in the game, and aligning it to their personal and unique perspective, because you hired them for a reason, right? Not only do they do a fantastic job, but they're making an impact and they have a greater purpose from their voice and how they speak with candidates, how they speak with clients, right? Like lean into their strengths and the path that they want to go down and their area of expertise, right? In a particular, maybe it's technology, maybe it's manufacturing. Right. And we don't have a lot of manufacturing micro influencers. I actually don't really know too many at all right now that are bringing so much into the game, from a internal staffing and recruiting perspective. So I think just being able to empower your team and give them the right tools and words of encouragement is going to be critical.
Oh, it's all making people happy. And that's what it's all about. And even in the influencer, tap it in the community. I think when you go to a restaurant, I give a tip out there, take a picture with the manager, post it on there with @StaffingShark. People's going to look at that. You'll get like 200 views. They'll share it on their site. The restaurants always have thousands. And guess what? Then your community, you're just going to grow in that. And you're not even asking for a job. They're just going to know who you are. They'll go to your site, see what you do. And sooner or later, everybody will just be reaching out to you. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we got to do this day.
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's also twofold. It's not only tagging them, taking a photo, having a
Yeah.
video, tagging in your local community, because then they're going to, of course, be like, wow, this is free content that Richard just sent me. I'm absolutely going to share this in all of my, coffee shops profiles. But also it's taking a step further and going beyond just the posts. It's also the engagement, the comments, it's the likes, it's being able
Yeah.
to build conversations within others content and posts to be able to show that, hey, I'm not only posting and ghosting, I'm ingrained, I'm here, I'm showing up, I want to have a conversation and get to know you.
And that's what I loved. I always say sharing and caring is the best way in our industry. If you can go into a restaurant or, like I said, a bar, anywhere you go and talk to them and share their content, they're going to love you for that because that's free. And
Yeah.
guess what? You get any return. You get all these comments that, even football right now, I think one of the biggest things is I'm a Steeler fan from Pittsburgh. Every Sunday, you should be posting stuff black and gold with the Shark or whoever your brand is, if it's one of the other staffing firms. Engage yourself in all the events, the community. That's what people's got their eyes on. So we don't have to, Ashley, we don't have to invent this wheel again.
Right.
We can jump a lot of time, piggyback on the community and let them become our recruiters and our sales reps. What's your take on this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think this is where I know AI was one of the topics here too, is if you don't know, right, you're just like, hey, Richard and Ashley, this is great, but I don't know what trend to hop on. Like, I don't know sports or whatever that is. You can leverage things like AI that's available to you and say, what are the current social media trends right now that I should be ingrained with my target audience? And you plug it in, you give AI the prompts and let them do the research for you. And of course, validate and make sure that it's credible, but it's going to make your life so much easier because even, several years ago when I had to do social media hashtag research, it took me hours to do it. Now with the help of AI and automation and other great tools, it is making you so much more efficient and proactive.
It is so true. Like there's apps out there, and I can put some in the subject line too, that actually tells you the top hashtags for X every week and everything like that. Related ones, you can type in staffing and say, these are the ones that are booming. It's so easy now to actually do an organic reach with all these hashtags. But the thing is, maybe we can tell people, do not hashtag a million hashtags at one time. No. Do not spam. On LinkedIn, I see people in comments put 40 hashtags and all that. That's spam in a way, and your algorithm is going to be down. Just give a little bit of people out there. What's your take on that? Because you are an expert on that. Is that so true that you should be spamming people like that with the hashtags?
Yes, absolutely true. Yes, as in do not do that, please.
Don't spam.
Don't.
We don't like spam in a can, so you won't like a spam either in your inbox.
Exactly. Please don't do that. Don't do the hashtags where, LinkedIn, right now on LinkedIn, 0 to 3. I'm going to give you that right now. That is the recommended. If you cannot think of any hashtags, I feel like they're forced. Don't do it. Don't. And LinkedIn, the algorithm is prioritizing keywords that are written organically. So if you run a social media post and you're talking about AI and disrupting the staffing industry, right? You don't have to then do hashtag AI at the end because LinkedIn already picked up AI, and your target audience that you're hopefully trying to get this post in front of, who's already having AI say that same exact term on their profile or their own search that they're conducting, they're going to get presented your piece of content. If you just slap another few hashtags on there, it's going to be spam. LinkedIn's not going to rank it higher in the feed. So it's just going to do you injustice.
You said it well said. Okay, so I got to ask you a couple of questions before we get out of here. So building your brand, let's go roll back to that real quick. So somebody's out there that might say, I'm trying to build my brand. It's not working. I read everything out there. Where do they start, Ashley? Can you give them like 3 or 4 tips on how to build your brand? Because you're like an expert at this and it could be executive search, or it could be somebody, just a recruiter in an office.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to first define your strategy at a very high level, right? Not something that I would do because that's going to take you too long. And it's just, don't want to do that yet, but take a step back and define your why. First, figure out what is your purpose. Why do you love what you're doing? What is the purpose? What are your goals? What do you want to achieve out of your brand before you even figure out what platforms to get on? So first, just figure out your why, and then figure out your time commitment with that same why exercise. How much time can you dedicate a week? 'Cause that's going to dictate the platform that you're on. And then I want you to get out there and choose 2 to 3 platforms for you just to create a account on when you're thinking about social media being your new website, and focus on the ones that are most attractive to you. What are the ones you're currently on? Because you're probably already going to knock
Yeah.
out 2 out of them, right? You're probably already on Facebook and LinkedIn. So then think about what could be possibly that third platform, and then just start showing up. Start with your first post. Stick to a consistent cadence of 1 to 2 times per week. That's all you have to do to start. And then once you gain momentum and it comes easier to you, then you can start sharing more frequently. But just get out of the gate and start talking about conversations you have. Let's do
Thank
conversations
you.
you're having with candidates, anything that you're having behind the scenes at home, sharing coffee, going to the gym, right? Like something we talked about that we love,
Yeah.
right? Just infuse, don't make it hard. If it feels forced, you're not doing it right. You need it to become organic, like it's an extension of already who you are.
I love that. So true. And you're just keeping it real. I love that. So, okay. So TikTok, we got to deep dive into this real quick. So
Yeah.
many people say TikTok, I see this all the conference, is not for staffing. It's not for recruiters. It's just for entertainment and dances.
Yeah.
Give me your take on this, because it has revolved in the last 6 months totally to what it used to be to what it is now. Should people be on TikTok if you're a recruiter?
Yeah. This is a tough one because TikTok got obviously some negative feedback, and and back, even 6, 12 months from now, the conversion rates being on TikTok were so much harder, but they are quickly advancing this platform. And the risk of it is non-existent anymore. If you look into the US bill to try to ban it, it's not there anymore.
Nope.
It's all just he say, she say. And I have a stat here, so I'm looking to the right. We were talking about Facebook and Instagram, right? Well, TikTok, thinking about 2025, TikTok is expected to surpass Facebook for the most amount of time spent on the platform within the US in 2025. So in 2025, TikTok, the target amount spent is 5.19 billion minutes per day, in comparison to Facebook is just 5. So it's just shy getting over there, but that shows you where things are heading. So TikTok is absolutely the right platform for you to be thinking about when it comes to brand awareness and being able to really put your stake in the ground from an engagement, right, and awareness and micro influencer approach.
You hit it right there. And I love that gospel, because the influencer shopping, just think of that. Every big brand is now on TikTok that wasn't before. And now they have influencer shopping they never had 6 months ago or a year ago. They just started out. It's like the platform is going to take over everything. And actually, you're so right, because the other ones, it's going to pass it. And then Instagram's trying to catch up, because they're going to do influencer shopping now, right? They're all going to be doing this. So all eyes are going to be on all platforms. I think the last one really, which who knows, LinkedIn might do influencer shopping too someday. Who knows? I mean, everybody, that is where we're going with this. So like we keep saying this over and over again. So if you see all these big brands investing money in all these other platforms, there's a reason why. They're getting something back on that. So us in the staffing recruiting industry, we can't wait 5 years from now and say, well, I'm going to jump on TikTok then when it's already exploded. Right now is the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's have another stat for you too, but I know.
Yeah, give him stats out. I love stats. If Jeff's
Yeah.
out there, Jeff, she's got stats for you.
Oh yeah, I love the data. Data doesn't lie. That's why it's so incredible. So when it comes to TikTok, right? This just got released over the past couple of weeks, about a month now. The viewership with business and finance sector, which staffing and recruiting bubbles up into that business element of it, according to TikTok, it has grown by 73% over the past 6 months. And that viewership, so the need for the audience wanting to view different tips and tricks of how to land a job, how to excel in your career, or the company culture aspect, or being at the ground level in a community event, thinking and learning about the industry. Those type of insights are on the rise with TikTok.
Man, it's growing, growing, growing.
It is.
And we got so much. Seriously, I'm just bouncing around here, but I have one more, seriously, because I know people's going to talk about this email marketing.
Yeah.
So many people actually say it's dead. I'm a firm believer it's not. Is just the way you use it. Just like Eric Clapton says, it's the way you use it. Seriously, am I right on this or what?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's exactly, you have to have an intentional approach and making it a very much holistic campaign in terms of, don't reinvent the wheel again, right? Like what you're doing on social, what you're doing for your blog content, if you're creating a ebook, right? Or some sort of infographic, whatever that is, when we're thinking of an actual full-blown campaign, repurpose that content, but you're just delivering it to your audience in a different channel, an email, where everyone's clearing their email, their inbox every single day. They're checking it. It's just all about your subject line. Is it sticking out to your audience? Is it giving them a quick win of, okay, I need to open this, right? Because this is something that demands my attention now. So being able to still use it, but with a adjusted intentional approach, and tap into video marketing. That's not what a lot of companies are doing now. And you got to lean into it. It's uncomfortable for a reason.
And you got to make it creative too. It's got to be, like I said, Netflix videos, a short one, 15 seconds of a pop or something like that. I think so many people are like, they think a video is just them talking about jobs in their office. That's kind of boring, Ashley. They got to have something, like a Superman or something to engage them. They got to build a theme. And it could be in your community too. It could be a football team or whatever. Make cartoon characters. There's so much AI stuff you can do with a video. Do you see in our industry, like the videos? I really don't see many people. I see them posting like talking or maybe, but I don't see any creative videos really out there capturing the audience.
Right. It's because there's not.
It's not. No, where's the MTV at? I'm going to say right now, where are you all at? MTV's back. Come on.
Right. Yeah. And I think this is so fantastic about this point of time of us having this conversation is to really light a fire under all of us in terms of like, we need to step it up as an industry and we need to connect with our audiences on such a deeper level that's relatable. Yeah. And lean into, like you said, the Netflix effect, right? Lean into these brands that you think we can never be, but we can. We have a chance to really reinvent how we are going to approach video content. Just start there. How can we really just double down on video and make it a video worth sharing? Because that will increase your views, but also a video worth a follow and becoming a micro influencer, right? Lean into your team that they have the knowledge already. They're at the ground level. People know them. They're a familiar face. So just getting creative with it, have a theme, right? And just do it for a month, right? Do it for a week, whatever that theme could be. But just don't be the same cookie cutter, generic,
same old flashy, go to my website with the link. Nobody wants to go damn links anymore. Come on, do the QR code or just pop it up and say, here, hit this, boom. There you go, right to the job board or whatever you need. People want stuff quickly these days.
Yes. Yeah. Make it something that's disruptive, right? Disrupt their day because they're scrolling anyway. So make it something, or even how you edit the clip, right? You can be walking in from the side and you're not actually sitting there in your chair. Like, get creative, look at the brands that you follow and figure out what are the types of editing and theming and messaging that really gets you to be hooked in, because you know that your audience is going to get hooked the same way too. And really just understand, get obsessed with what your audience gravitates towards, because that's how they're going to get obsessed with your brand too.
Exactly. It's all about the hook. We know that, right? And we're going to talk about this real quick. We got to talk about Kenny Chesney. You got Taylor Swift. When you go to a tailgate, Taylor Swift, be a Swiftie or you should be a Sharky with me, but it's all good. But at the end of the day, the Swifties, how does she build this? She didn't build this from day one. She built this. Could you imagine? Everybody just loves everything about her. go to Kenny Chesney. You've been at Kenny Chesney concert. You know what it's about, right? I mean,
Yeah.
are you sucked in now where you're going to go back and back again?
I am. I know. And I don't know if my dad's watching this, but he and my uncle sucked me in this year.
Woo! Yeah.
And yeah, and I went to the opening night and I'm hooked. I'm all about experiences and just that experience that you have when you're at a concert. That's what we need to replicate with our content on any platform that you're on. Make it an experience.
Experience. Yep. 100%. It's all about the experience for them. Think like you're Disney World or whatever you are, you're entertaining. And I know our industry is totally like, well, this is the way it is. But I'm going to tell you, peeps, I'm smiling, you're smiling, we're not frowning. So something's going wrong. I mean, right with us. So it's like, I think that because me and you, Ashley, we study different brands. I think the biggest thing, study the big brands. They've already done it, like the Chick-fil-A's. Get on there and do research. They've already done it. If you could take about 10% of what they did and apply it to our industry, you'll be a rock star.
Exactly. It's taking that extra step to do the research, analyze outside of your direct competitors, but analyze those inspo brands is what I call it. What are the brands that inspire you? What are the brands that you want to be like? Right. And look outside of our industry because we need to make sure that we're not, just keeping it confined and just, competing with one another because there's enough food at the table for all of us. It's just a matter of being able to lean into your specific, unique proposition and your values that you provide your audience and, make it that Kenny Chesney, Taylor Swift, like make your Swifties, right? Like, figure out what that is, work with your marketing team. That'd be so cool to come up with your own brand advocates and develop who are they? What are their interests? What are the content they enjoy? And just lean into that and create it for them.
And I think something else, your clients and your candidates should be part of your content. Right. Throw it in there. I mean, I say this all the time, but nobody listens all the time. I keep saying this. This is like, we have fun saying this, but seriously, at the end of the day, this stuff works. I got to throw this up real quick. This is one of the best books ever. Have you seen it yet? The Gary Vee book?
No.
Yeah. Got about a month ago. I was reading it by the pool about a week ago. It's so incredible. And he hits it right on about being that creative content, making it different, and people will attract to you. They want that positive magnetic force. The more we talk negativity, they're just going to walk away.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You gotta be their number one hype company, their hype person. You gotta hype them up, right? You have to, and because it's ebbing and flowing with, our industry, and we got to just keep leaning into the positives and where we're heading next year and getting the footing to be able to propel moving forward by staying creative, staying and leveraging that edge of where you want to be and, the excitement behind the deeper purpose that you serve.
You name it. 25 is coming soon. So final thoughts. If you had anybody out there, tell them we wrap this up. What advice can you give everybody out there? Besides connecting with you.
Right. Yeah, you could do that. But number one piece of advice, what I would give is, and this is something that I personally say, I probably should make a t-shirt. I'm not there yet. I don't know, but you just have to show up for your brand, show up for yourself, show up for your candidates and your clients every single day. And leveraging the tools that you have in your toolbox, and break out of being uncomfortable because it's going to be uncomfortable at first, right? Leaning into that creative edge of where you want to be, you have to be, but just focusing on showing up each and every day for your audience on social media and focusing on getting 1% better with your strategy every single day.
I love how you say that. And remember, what your audience, I call it the fan base. I'd rather say fan base. Your peeps, your fan base, every time that you put content out there or on the phone, think of Kenny Chesney or Taylor Swift, that you're on a stage and turn it up, high energy or whatever you want. But remember, at the end of the day, it's about whatever the best interest for them.
Right. It doesn't matter about the likes and the shares right now. It's just keep the momentum. You're spreading a good word, like you said, stay positive and just keep making an impact.
And Ashley, where can they find you besides LinkedIn? Are you on any other platforms right now or just right there?
I am on Threads. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on X. I'm on TikTok. I'm on all of it, but the most active on Instagram and LinkedIn.
There it is. Reach out to Ashley. She'll guide you in the right direction. Hey, thank you so much. I had a blast. I mean, we did 50 minutes of just going boom, 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 boom. And this is not going to be over because there's so much more to talk about in the next couple of months. I mean, social media, every week, something new's coming out. There'll be new reels. There'll be something with Instagram, TikTok. So stay on the just and everything. And I think something down the road, Ashley, I think me and you should team up and do some other little shark bites on social media to keep people up to date because they might get confused. So we can just say, hey, once a week, check this little bite out. It can help you grow your social media.
Exactly. Yeah, no, this is a chapter 1 of many more chapters to come because it is constantly evolving. Things are changing and we'll be your dynamic duo to keep you on the right path.
And we're going to let you be curious about that. We're going to say anything else. There might be a project in the works. Yeah. I got to always say that. Well, hey, thank you so much again. Remember, people, just reach out to us. We're always here for you. Remember, 25, you better be alive because it's going to be crazy. Take care, guys.
Bye.